Okay, I guess we are rolling straight into it with no countdown. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to. Excuse me, can't talk today. Time for some drift. What is this? Peach strawberry. Didn't have time to make coffee before the show, so one of those days. But what is going on, one and all? I am your humble co-host, James. My ginger-haired compatriot has abandoned us for the time being. I believe he's refreshing a beverage. But we are here to talk about the Mike Medlin Scratch League. Tonight is the first night, or the final night, I should say, of the first half. And I guess let's just not even muck about and let's just go straight to the punchline. As of last week, we have locked up the first half. So we cannot be caught. We have what is that, 38.5 point lead on second place, and there's only 32 points available per night. So, yeah, I mean, it's pretty much been an absolute best case scenario run in the first half, leading the league in pinfall, leading the league in games won, in team games won. And I mean, we got two people that are in line to be a captain for next year on the team, and a third that's been kind of right around the captain line for most of the season. So really, it's gone about as well as it could have, realistically speaking. I was actually looking this. We've had some big wins, but I also just kind of thinking about how we've gotten there is like we haven't lost very much, and when we haven't lost a ton of points aside from 1 week against Zach's team where I think we took like 4. Hey, what's up, Max? So it's just been kind of what Luke and I had talked about from the very start of when we kind of were talking about how I was going to build this team, is having essentially a high floor, never really going to get locked out of it type of approach to things. And with the exception of 1 week, our worst take any given week is when I think 10 points on the course of the first half. And when we're doing that, and we have won or tied on points 13 of 16 weeks. So when you combine the fact that we're winning most of our matchups, and when we lose, we don't lose big, that's generally a recipe for success. And yeah, I think there will be a couple of teams that are going to have a much stronger second half than first half, and that'll definitely. Can we at least prolong the drama for next half? Dude, we took 16 weeks. I don't know what more you want us to do. I didn't want too much of an adventure going into week 17, Jason. Yeah, it's gone about as well as it could have. So I guess kind of thinking about the half, Luke, what would have been, I guess, your thoughts on kind of the story of our team?
Yeah. Angel apparently rescued a lost dog, so.
Yeah, I saw that over in the Discord.
Yeah, I think that, it has gone about as well as it possibly could have. I think that, again, we expected me and Jaden to be up from last year, not this much. So we've gotten that as a bonus, and Noah's getting there. He's still up, though. I think at this point now,
barely. I think he's right about where he was drafted, give or take. Because I drafted him at like 208 and change. I think 208 or 209 and change, which is right about where he is right now.
Okay, so if nothing else, we've all gone up, and he's at the very least broken even, but he continues to get better.
Yeah, he's 211.23 right now, and I drafted him at 209.17. So up a couple pins, but he's also he had a really down first. I don't think he broke 600 until like week 5 or week 6.
Mm-hmm.
That was fighting the injury and everything else. So he's definitely coming on strong. And it was kind of I knew I was. It felt like kind of in my head, at least, that I was drafting three solid bowlers with a lot of potential all at their floors, more or less, was kind of how I was looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten ceiling from 2 and solid recovery from 1, and I'm up almost 15 pins over last year. So
yeah,
combination of all that, I feel like I mean, we're basically winning almost everything right now. And I mean, I know it's not always going to be like this. I don't even expect to have this happen next year, but at least for right now, I'm just kind of in my mind at least, to just kind of ride the wave as long as we can. Hopefully through week 34, but whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Typically, teams don't. You would have to go back and look, but I think we've pretty well dominated the half anyway. We'll have to see what happens with the second half and ending up finding where we end up the entire year. But I think that there's some teams that beat us up a little bit or took some more points from us the first half than I think they're going to the second half.
Yeah.
But there's also some teams I think that are probably going to take more points from us the second half than we let them have the first half.
Yeah.
But I would say overall it's been pretty consistent, and I think that whether we've been up or down one or other, I mean, we've only had like one game under 700 or under 800.
That sounds about right. Yeah, I would have to go back and actually let me check on that.
We shot 760 against I think Zach. The couple weeks ago.
We had 790 against Kreitzer's team. Game 1, week 5.
So yeah, we've had a couple games under 800.
And then bounce back with 960, 970 to come back.
Yeah. Generally speaking, though, we've had, even if somebody's had a down game, somebody else or several somebody else's have had big games. And so we haven't, it's been very rare for us to all be down at the same time.
Yep. Yeah, we had 768 against Zach in game 3, week 15. Sorry, just to kind of put a bow on that.
Yeah.
Only 2 games under 800 out of 48 team games bowled. That's slightly ridiculous.
Yeah, so we've won 32 games.
Yeah. We're winning 2/3 of our team games. We're winning team total most weeks. That's pretty good recipe for success.
So yeah, and I think that that's the big thing, because the team games are worth 4 points apiece. So if you look at that, we've gotten 100 and almost 130 points just out of games, not even counting series, which series is also worth 4 points. And we've won series the majority of the weeks too. So, and if you look at it, it's still a fairly competitive league, because even the worst team in the league still has 190 points, and we've still lost 180 points, basically. So it's not going to be one of those things where no matter how good we bowl, we're not just going to completely roll everybody. And up until last week, there was still an outside chance that we could have had a couple bad weeks and could have gotten taken over. But
yeah, it was kind of so I think the victory scenario last week is if we took 18.5 from Trevor's team and stayed ahead of Jerry, nobody else could have mathematically caught us. And so I guess to kind of transition into talking about the week, we took 22.5 off of Trevor's team, who pre-bowled. And then Team Ottawa got 10 off of Nick Vaughn and company. And then Russ had a tough go. Russ's team had a tough go against Tennis, and that was a very grindy match that I didn't really see coming. Yeah, it was actually a resurgent Trent Overby and company have actually taken over second place, which, if you look at this, that's a pretty crazy logjam. Like, I feel like second to 6th or 7th could all realistically change hands depending on how tonight goes, because there's some pretty, like, Trent's team is bowling Yuri tonight, Yuri and Angel. Team Ottawa pre-bowled not great, as I understand it, and they have 16 versus Kreitzer, which they're always going to be tough.
Yeah.
Crouch, who'd you say Crouch is bowling? Bradley, I think.
Bradley.
Yeah. So Crouch and Bradley, that'll be a 7-15. Yep. So they're on 5 and 6, which that can be a weird pair too. So that could get kind of choppy. And then Rob Wagner's team in 5th, team 3-14, Nick Vaughn's team, which they're always tough. They'll actually be right beside us tonight. Trevor's team has 6-6 Keeler, which Keeler's team I'm actually a little scared of second half. They're starting to figure it out, and Steve's actually striking again. So I think they're gonna play us really tough second half. And then, of course, we're bowling Russ tonight, which that'll be. This is the match that I always kind of circle in my mind for the league, which We've bowled Russ's team very late, both halves and both years that I bowled the league. Ironically, this is one that I kind of mentally circled of like. I enjoy talking to Russ, but he's also kind of a little bit of a measuring stick for me, and so I kind of. I want to make sure I'm ready for this one. So it's gonna be a fun time tonight. But Russ is good people. Mason is fun to watch bowl when he's on, and we got who else? Richard Allen, and then I think Dengo is bowling tonight, not Larry.
Okay.
But yeah, so there's still none of the top teams are bowling each other aside from us versus Russ's team. So I think there is still and especially with there being, this 21 points from second to seventh, like that's, or 20 and a half, I should say. Sorry. Like, I think there's still a lot of shuffling that could happen kind of just below us in the standings. So I think that'll be really interesting to see how that pans out next week.
Yeah.
I guess we can jump over and talk a little bit. I guess we just don't need to talk about our week last week. So I think we mentioned this last week. Jaden was busy with work stuff last week, so we took her 218 absent score, which was good for 2 in total against Brent.
And we'll take that again tonight because she's also in Vegas for the collegiate tournament.
Yeah, which I don't know if you saw the Ottawa ladies came in second. It took Wichita to beat them, which was a really, really solid showing.
So she's doing great down there.
Yep. So the Ottawa ladies had a really solid showing. I'm not sure how the guys did, but they are out there as well. Really, really, really solid night from Noah. I was very I feel like this was his best bowled set of the year, honestly. Like, even more than the night that the three of us all shot 750.
Yeah.
I feel like he was just bang, bang, bang. Like, pretty much no doubters, like keeping himself, like, this was like trademark peak Noah. I feel like a couple of hits didn't go his way, but he was just keeping himself right there and not doing dumb stuff.
Yeah, and I think especially because bowling unopposed didn't exactly go the way that we thought it was going to go. I mean, the first game we pretty well locked it up. That first game, all we had to do was just not screw anything up.
We did know their scores before practice.
Yeah, we did know their scores.
Yeah.
But I mean, we knew their scores, and it still didn't help. I still ended up tying at 205 the last game.
I think you got 9 on your fill to tie too.
I did. Somehow I knew it was going to happen.
I wanted to make fun of you so much for that, but I just knew that you were steaming about it. So I was like, yeah, I'll not.
Oh yeah, because I didn't have that great of a look, and the fact that I was even able to tie him in the first place, I had to have the strike in the 9th and then the first 2 in the 10th. Because I had 140, I had 146 in the 8th, and just the fact that I was even able to make it get half a point.
Yeah.
But yeah, once that first game, once we got out of that first game, they got a little tricky.
Yeah, and I was thinking about this after. It's like because I threw my ethos for 29 out of 30 frames, I think. I looked at the fireball early in game 3, and it just wasn't it. I think the slower pace of transition with just Noah and myself on the right side actually kind of hurt me a little bit. And I mean, I didn't throw it the greatest games 2 and 3, and my decision making could have been better. But it was also like transition was happening slow enough that my adjustment pace, I think, was a little bit mismatched to what the lanes were giving me too. Because I mean, obviously, I front 11 and then just threw one straight through the backstop and 2-8 for 298 game 1, and then just kind of got nickel and dimed out of it the rest of the day. Which it was always like, I don't think I missed the pocket very much. It was just kind of lost my pin carry, lost my look through the pins, and nothing else that I tried was any better. So it's just kind of there did come a point, I think, early in game 3 where it's like, okay, nothing else is close enough to justify trying to make it work. So let's just go back to the ethos and hit the pocket. That's kind of my general thinking. So, but yeah, it was they hooked quite a bit. 17 and 18 has always been the most hooking pair in the league, just in terms of a baseline friction perspective. So I think I think that plus being alone, my angles might have gotten a little too steep for what the lanes wanted. But it was just kind of hard to get away from that more than anything else.
Yeah, and there must be some kind of a topography thing too, because I actually had less hook. The ball was going a couple feet longer than it normally did, and so that was giving me all kinds of I just had angle issues, and I was trying to make the ball strike, and I got kind of my mechanics got kind of out of whack, which ended up carrying into Saturday and Sunday for the tournament. So that was awesome. But
well, yeah. Saturday, Sunday, you were bowling in Belton, so I don't think.
And see that doesn't really even count. I mean, that just Belton's just. I mean, Trevor and Bo weren't plus on Sunday either, so you just kind of write that off a little bit. But I also was having some physical hiccups, so. But again, I'm going to continue to jinx myself. I picked up all my 7 pins, including 3 of them in that first game, because I needed 238, and I left a 10 pin first ball in the 10th, and
you had 59 working, I think, right?
Yeah, I needed that. Yeah, and so I left 7 pin, and I needed it to win the game. That didn't count to win the game, and so the 7 pin, the spare shooting, at least in that particular league. It wasn't spectacular this weekend. I got back on the train on Sunday the last several games, but anyhow, it's just kind of a mediocre set. But everybody has those sets every once in a while. Even Russ has them, and so
if your mediocre is 640, I'm good with that.
Yeah, and that's as bad as it's been for months. My other, I mean, I shot 670 a couple weeks ago, and that was even still pretty solid. So because again, we had that bad game against Zach the last game, and so
and you had a 633 back in week 10, and then after that it was the run of the 730 to 740, and then you went 670, 640. So I mean,
so I'm not gonna be mad at that.
You've got one set under 600 on the year, and that was the first week. I'm good with that.
Yep,
that's pretty awesome. So I guess looking forward to our match tonight. We are obviously bowling Russ's team. Now this is a little bit different. I think there wasn't a combo last year, if I remember correctly.
No, which is kind of odd because there's always been at least 1 or 2 combos every single year, which makes the draft interesting. But last year there wasn't one, period.
Yeah. So essentially, what happens here is Larry and Craig were drafted as a combo bowler, which I think the rules are like it can't be more than like a 60-40 split on game count at the end of the year, one way or the other, or something to that effect.
Yeah.
But it's a way for 2 bowlers to kind of split a roster spot as long as their averages are close enough. And Larry and Craig, I think we averaged within a couple pins of each other last year. So they were drafted as a combo by Russ. I think they took them with his second pick. And so, Larry and Craig are trading off every week, and then Richard and Mason are full-time. So I expect with Larry being out, that puts Richard and Craig in the 1 and 2 holes, and they've been bowling in that order all year when they've both been there, and then Mason 3, and then Russ obviously in the anchor spot, which I like those matchups for us top to bottom anyways, so it works out well. I mean, Russ is Russ. There's not much else to say. Larry's had a phenomenal start to the year. Like I didn't realize until a couple weeks ago just how much he was striking. So he's not going to have enough games to be a captain, but he's right there right around the captain line at the moment in terms of average cutoff.
Yeah.
So tip of the cap to him for a really, really solid start to the year. But I think it'll be a fun match. I like our chances against pretty much anybody, but I also know that, Russ is obviously Russ. Mason has a ton of talent. If he gets it going, he strikes a lot. And, Richard and Craig are, Craig especially just kind of a plunk it up 10 type of a guy.
Yeah.
And Richard slow hooks it more, but if that's in play, what lanes are we on? Oh, yeah, we're on 13 and 14 tonight. Yep.
Yeah.
Which is
second highest scoring.
Yeah, that's actually caught up a little bit. And 11 and 12 slowed down a ton. That's really interesting.
Yeah. We figured out why that was for at least one game anyway.
Yeah, there is that. Yeah, so 13 and 14 is a higher scoring pair. This was the pair we bowled on the week of Kansas City Open, actually, when I shot 300, 811 against when we bowled Tennyson's team. And then Russ's team actually bowled very well. That was from Larry before he was in the 2-hole. But really solid outing from Russ's team, but they got Trevored is all there is to say about that. Trevor's team bowled really well too. So
Yeah,
I'm expecting this to be a dog. I mean, this Russ is always going to be a dogfight against him, and the rest of the team is solid too and very capable bowlers. So should be fun, but it'll be night like a little less pressure, I guess, from the sense that we've already locked up the half, but.
yeah.
There's still a payout per point that we win as a team. So
Yeah, there's still points on the line, and there's still again, placing for me as far as the captain situation is concerned.
Yeah,
because obviously the higher I finish, the more I get paid for my finish.
Yep. Which you're in 13th right now.
Yeah, so I'm trying to work my way up on that list.
Yeah, you're in 13th, but you're 3 pins out of being in 8th. So it's always a really tight kind of midfield in the captain spots. So
yeah,
lots of potential there. But, if you keep it up, what you've been doing, then you should be fine for that.
I think I'll be all right.
Yeah, I like your chances. But equipment wise, any changes for tonight? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think I'm still just gonna run with the same stuff. I ended up throwing a couple different balls last week, but it was just because things kind of got out of hand. I will still bring the Summit, probably the Phase Tour again, even though I don't know, it rolls so good, but the shape through the pins doesn't quite work sometimes.
It rolled great, but it did kind of catfish you a little bit, I feel like.
Yeah. And I wasn't throwing it that great either. I just had the shot was pushing an extra couple feet, or the ball was going an extra couple feet too long, but the bumper was still the same on the outside. So figuring out how to get it both down the lane and then make it hook and also make it go through the pins the right way was really tricky. Now, I did drill a fresh promotion that's probably going to come tonight because I beat this league, and especially in a situation like that where even the Summit is early blendy, slow, whatever. It's not quite it's not as blendy as a promotion.
Yeah, it's
so
like
if I need to, if
the promotion is just straight butter, but like traction blendy butter.
And it's also a little bit rounder shape. So there are sometimes where the Summit is just it's 6-pin flat 7, 6-pin flat 7. I can play to pocket splash a little bit more with the promotion, I feel like, and I can also, because it's not quite as heavy rolling, it's not quite as early, so I can actually get on top of the shot a little bit more. So that one's definitely going to come tonight.
Okay.
And again, outside of that,
Absolute Power, maybe just for kicks and giggles.
Yeah, possibly. The Summit Peaks looking like a nice. I'm not supposed to use them yet, but
oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I'm not supposed to use them yet, but whatever.
Stupid timelines.
Yeah, but it's looking like a nice little kind of. It's right on top of the Summit, pretty much. It's just a little cleaner and sharper, and that might have helped last week. It may not have, but I guess we'll see. I'll carry them together for a few weeks, and we'll throw them quite a bit on Fridays.
Which, while I'm thinking about it, your reviews for both the Peak and the Power go live on the 29th. Is that correct?
29th, yeah.
Okay, which is a week from tomorrow for those that are watching this live. So just a little shameless plug for your channel in there. But,
yep.
Yeah, shameless plug for the channel we're already on. Goodness,
yeah, but
I need more coffee, dude. I'm struggling.
Yeah,
today.
but yeah, it's going to be business as usual. Summit, I'm just going to lean on the Summit, and if I have to throw something else, it'll probably be the promotion.
Yeah,
but we'll see. So I'm going to keep leaning on it.
Yeah, that's my general plan too. the bag I've been bringing has worked great. This 4 complementary reactions that all kind of do their own thing at the same time. But like when I go from one to the other blind, I rarely miss the pocket unless I just throw an atrocious shot because I know what they do relative to each other so well. So it'll be kind of actually wait, I need to double check. So I had to go down a grip size and everything, and I don't know if I have the correct size grips on my fireball. So I'll either pop fresh grips in the fireball or I'll just chuck my absolute in the bag instead. I haven't decided which, but it'll be one of those 2 on the bottom end, and then the usual combo of NV Tour, top speed, and ethos for the other 3 plus my fireball. So it's just very much a case of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Is my general plan for tonight. So if I remember right, when we bowled on this pair before, it was a little kind of squirrely game 1, and I just kind of had to figure it out as I went. And then they kind of developed and stabilized as the night went on. So that'll be something I'm kind of looking out for. It was a little like, feels weird to say this, but I was actually surprised I shot 800 when we were on this pair last time because it felt at the end of practice like it was going to be a hit the pocket and hang on for dear life and hope for the best type of deal, and everything worked out. So it could be that again, especially with, there's going to be 4 pretty different launch angles from Russ's team on the right side of the lane. So that'll be interesting to see how that develops as well. But should be fun regardless. I don't really know there's a whole lot else to say. We might get out of here in under 30 minutes for once.
Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine that. But yeah, I guess, obviously points reset for the second half after this week. So a little bit of a fresh start, and we'll have a little more data to work off of, but all of our pair matchups for each team will be changing as well. So it'll be fun to kind of think about what teams did in the first half and kind of how we see them now versus then type of deal as we move into the second half of the year. So yeah, I don't have a whole lot else to say. Anything to add on your side? Or?
No, it's just this is kind of a straightforward week. It'll get interesting once we next week, once we reset for the half. It's kind of inconsequential what happens tonight. Sure, we've still got some things to pay attention to, and we don't really want to take the week off, but
yeah. The same, like it's individual points. I am leading right now, I believe, and I've won. I've got almost a 75% individual point win record right now. Which pretty phenomenal. / where the heck did that come from? That's kind of how I'm thinking about it almost. But I've had a really good year. I feel like you've either won 3 or 1 pretty much every single week. I feel like you either take 2 and set, or you just get rolled, and that's kind of that's how the 3-hole ends up being for a lot of guys. I feel like
it's just kind of the wrong place to be,
pretty much. And then Jaden's had a few weeks where she squeaked 3 and you wouldn't have expected it, and then a few weeks where she should have gotten 3 but didn't. But that's just kind of, and then same deal for Noah. I feel like so it's been a little more push pull for you guys. I'd say if I had to guess, y'all are all probably around a 60% win rate, give or take. But I mean, it really does. I don't have the individual points we don't get those on the recaps that they publish online. I think I'm double checking that. I don't see anything. Nope. But yeah, really solid year. And I mean, genuinely, it's been a team effort top to bottom. And, we're all kind of there helping each other out on a week-to-week basis. And that's been a lot of fun. So,
yeah.
If I can get a team like this every year, I'll be really happy. But
yeah,
just from a personality and how we work together perspective, even if we don't actually even if we finish middle of the pack, it's been an awesome first year. And I think having you on the team has helped with kind of getting my feet under me as a captain and thinking about the week-to-week side of things too.
Yeah, and being able to have this show and talking through stuff has helped a little bit too. And it's going to be interesting next year if I end up staying in a captain position. And even if I even if I don't, we may be on different teams. So
If you aren't a captain, I don't see any way that you fall to me.
no, I don't think that'll happen. So yeah, either way, we're going to be on different teams next year, and so that will make it'll make it a little bit more interesting if I am a captain, because then we each get to pick our own teams instead of me just finding out whose team I'm gonna be on, and it's a little different perspective from, because if we are the captains, we're kind of in control with what goes on with the team and the lineups and whatever else. So and in control of who we picked. So
yeah. Which I think you and I are probably, if I had to guess, we'll probably end up with fairly similar team compositions too.
Probably.
You and I think about it kind of similar.
Mm-hmm. I've drafted several times, and I've had some times where my philosophy didn't really work out, and then I won the league once, and we just mowed people down. But it was a fairly similar year. I took Tennyson at 212 the year that we won, so
that's pretty good.
Yeah. So, and I took Alex Jimenez at like 205. So
that's disgusting.
Yeah. So
oh my goodness.
That's the year I did I didn't do the dumb that year.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyhow, I'll let you get out of here. I'll get back I've got some videos I'm working on, and then we'll bowl tonight, and then it'll be interesting to talk about the reset next week.
Yeah. And kind of start all over again and do this for 17 more weeks. But
yeah.
Until then, Merry Christmas, y'all.